Hello, hello everyone. Okay, so welcome. I'm Kathy from Santa Marta Designs. You're here on my YouTube channel, which we decided for the very first time tonight, last minute, to go live on YouTube. Better late than never. We're trying to make sure this works. So if there are any kinks in the process, we will work them out, but we need to start somewhere. So normally I've been uploading videos, which have kind of been delayed. So we're going to start doing lives up until Christmas, and then we'll go back through the actual upload process on prior recorded videos. So tonight, what we are going to finish off is we had already started a grapevine wreath. And what we had done was this big, luscious, juicy bow in gold and white. So let me hold that over here so you can see it. So this was done on a Facebook Live last Monday, about a week ago. The tutorial on this will get uploaded, hopefully within the next week or so. I'm just working out some scheduling conflicts. And so we will attach this to our grapevine. So that bow is already done, but what we're going to do is play around with our greenery that we're going to attach to a grapevine. So normally what you would see is a ton of picks getting added to this, and so this would be an example. So we have this white poinsettia pick with some iced pine cone and some iced white berries. It's pretty large. So this one measures, let me move things out of the way. With the end of the stem, this one measures almost 17 inches tall. And that's without bending this white berry pick. Okay. So I'm just trying to see, I believe I am live, so I can see that. And I can't really see any comments because I'm probably in the wrong screen, but that's fine. So if you're on, say hello, just so I know you guys can actually see what's going on, or if you guys have trouble seeing what's going on. We're trying this out live for the first time tonight. Like I said, might as well just go for it, right? So we have this large white poinsettia pick, and then we also have these gold, shiny and matte beaded berries. I may or may not throw on these golden angel wings, and so we shall see how things kind of play out. Like I said, I may or may not add them. I'm just trying to see. We're getting some autofocus issues, so I'm just going to shut that off so that the camera doesn't keep going in and out on you, because no one wants to get dizzy. All right, so let's get the party started. So if you have not already gone ahead and liked our channel on YouTube, you know, we always appreciate the go ahead and subscribe. I'm saying like I'm on Facebook, but I'm on YouTube. So go ahead and hit that little subscribe button and hit the notification icon, because we are going to start doing some live, like I say, on YouTube instead, because I've been having some other social media issues elsewhere. So we're going to start here. All right, so normally we would add a bunch of picks to get our background. So I got this garland, really inexpensive piece of garland that is how long? It is 9 feet long. It was a leftover from last year's Christmas supplies at the store that I literally got like about 2 months ago. And they always try to put everything out from last year first at like 80% off. So this is a 9-foot piece of garland, artificial pine. So what we're going to do in order to beef up our background here, our filler on our grapevine, is we are going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and add this on, and we're probably going to do one row going up, fold it, and then have another row coming on basically the inside of the grapevine. So this way we have another way to also secure our picks, not only with glue, but this adds some really great filler on top of what we already have for picks. Okay, so that way it is a really great inexpensive filler that you can use, and I'm probably only going to use about half of this, and probably not even half, so I have enough to use of this garland for another project if I so choose. Okay, so let me get started. So here we're going to just spread this out a little bit more here. We're going to move our bow so we don't smash it. I'm going to move that aside. Alright. And so again, if anybody's new, come on in, say hello. And we will answer any questions usually towards the end, unless I see them while I'm stuck doing something that is maybe a little more time consuming, like when I go ahead and put the wire on this. So I did try to put most of the supplies in the links, and not in the links, but in the comments down below. If you don't see them, just go ahead and you know, kind of click on that little down arrow. That should expand your description. I think one thing that I forgot to put in there was this wire. So we are going to use floral wire. And this gauge is 22 gauge. I like to use the stronger gauge on the grapevines. You don't have to. You can use a thinner gauge. And I forgot to put our little wire cutters as well on there. So you can, these are just very simple wire cutters. These are just from like the little jewelry section at any craft store. So we'll see, let's measure out how much we already cut for wire. So we cut about 22 inches of wire. So I'm going to hang this down a little bit from our grapevine, and I'm going to spin this around in just a minute. So I have this spun around. Like what I like to do when I'm doing a grapevine base is I like to try to turn my base until I either find the right perfect circle, if that's what it's supposed to be, and I try to get it in the spot that I want to start creating. So this one seems to actually be a little bit, I wouldn't say warped, but it's just starting to bend a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create on my left side here and go up. And what I'm going to do is take all this stuff off, because we know we're going to use these. And we need to move our bow again so we don't smash that pretty thing. So I'm going to, this is the top and this is the bottom. So I'm going to move them in a better way so that you can see. And just move a couple of things out of the way. Alright, so this is the top, this is the bottom. Okay, so I'm working facing you. And let me see, I might be able to just zoom in a little bit more so that you can see. Okay? I want to move anything else out of the way that I'm not working with, so that way we're not causing any problems. Alright, so I'm going to work from the outside, and then I'm going to basically fold it, very likely, and then come back down on the inside and tack it on. Okay, so I'm just trying to get how much I want to cut. So I'm going to hang that off a little bit. I'm going to wrap this around the outside. And then up here, like I said, I want to kind of still overhang this a little bit. This is not going to be perfect at first, especially when the garland is been oh so folded from the store. But I'm just trying to get an idea of how long I want to cut this. And we're going to move this piece down this way. There we go. Okay. Be careful when you're working with the wired garland. Sometimes there's sharp edges on these metal connections here that cause someone to scream when they get stabbed. So, I know I mentioned those little wire cutters, but what you do want to have on hand if you're cutting some kind of material like this that has a heavier, thicker wire is just a more involved wire cutter as far as like a heavy duty one. Some kind of snips or something would usually help. So I basically actually probably used about 3/4 of that, more than I had thought I needed, which is probably still the case, but I'd rather have more than less. Okay. All right. And so I'm just going to go ahead and wrap the bottom where I cut that so that it's not so pointy and sharp. All right. So now we're going to attach the outside first, and then we're going to come back in here and basically attach right towards the inner side of this. And then these up here, I'm going to push this up in a second, or down I should say, towards you to see. Then these will still stay kind of fluffed up over here. All right, so let's start attaching. And I think what I'm going to do is leave my wire piece pretty long. I think what I want to do is definitely attach one towards the bottom. And when I'm attaching, I'm going to stick this wire. Actually, what I like to do first is curl my wire, bend it up like a little tiny hook at first. You can see that. So that way when I hook it through my grapevine, I'm not going through the back. Hook it through my grapevine, I want it to get right back up towards the top instead of fishing for that. Okay, so I've already pulled it right up through the top, and if you have a problem pulling it up, it's always good to have is, which they're buried on my table right now, is a set of needle nose pliers. I just have a very simple small set that are again from the jewelry section of a craft store. And you can go ahead and get those basically anywhere. So we're gonna put this guy right down here. And all you do is grab your other end you inserted and give that a few good twists. All right. Now, the extra wire that you have exposed, what I like to do is, again, give that some good twists until it's twisted off there. And then you don't need the glue, but I just like to add a little bit of glue to the edges, to the very tip of the wire. I take my needle nose pliers, and all I do is bend that right back down into the base of the frame so that those pointy wire edges aren't sharp and pointing up towards you when you're working on something or gonna stab anybody when you're picking anything up on this wreath, maybe to look at or to hang. You just don't want it to snag you. Okay. And again, there could be some sharp pieces, so be careful. Just bend those in with your pliers if you need to. All right. So here, this is the side that comes up on the left, I'm going to add another one here towards the center of our grapevine. This is like basically the middle. So we're at bottom, top, and then this would be middle. So again, I'm going to make a little hook. And I can first go in and go ahead and grab a bunch of my grapevine base and pull my wire through. So that way I'm not fishing with my garland on top. So now I already got my garland in place, I've got my wire in place, and I'm just going to go ahead and tie that off. Okay. Again, this is just securing it a lot more than, let's shut that little dinging noise off. This is just trying to secure it a lot more than going ahead and putting some hot glue, because that's not going to hold up very long on a grapevine. Okay. And especially if you're using a grapevine in a warm climate, that glue could melt back on you. And what we're going to do is just add one more up here for the top. Okay. So for this top piece, I think what I'm going to do is try and attach both sides at the same time. Actually, technically that may not work. Let's just try and bend this and see. No, that may not work, because I want it to make sure if I attach them both at the same time, this is going to really pinch in tight, and I want it to kind of stay spread out. So we will just make 2 connecting spots there, and that's okay. So we're going to hook that through a bunch of our twigs, like I like to call them. The very first time I worked with one of these, I was just in shock at how much they shed. Grapevines shed their branches and leaves like you wouldn't believe. So I always tend to have a little dustpan and broom ready towards the end of creating one of these. It can be worse than getting a glitter bomb thrown at you, if you can believe that. Right? So I see a couple of people on. Hey, hello everyone. Thank you for hopping on. I know this was a last minute decision to go on YouTube, but I think we're going to be here a little bit more relevant now. So thank you, Natalie, and thank you, Anne, for hopping on. Don't forget to tell your friends where we are tonight. Again, was a last minute decision. Our other social media platform, which shall remain nameless, you may guess, has not been so cooperative for us to be able to tell everyone what we're going to be doing that night. So, said, what the hey, why not? Let's give it a go. Let's give it a go, and we will work out the kinks, right? So again, I just made a little tiny hook, driving that right through, so we're going to try and go a little bit faster now on these last 2 pieces we need to secure. So in the end, I'm going to end up with 6 spots that I have wire securing the garland. Okay. I don't know if you've seen anybody use the garland to cover your base, but we're doing that tonight. I don't have a very fancy glue gun, so a lot of people, I forgot to list that in our supplies for tonight. We'll get better at this. We didn't, like I said, this was a last minute decision. We'll get better at listing our supplies. I'll make a template to be able to just copy paste for our generic stuff like the glue and the tools like the cutters and stuff like that. we will figure it out. So now I will have 6. So I'll have 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So that was on the outside. I'm going to do the same thing on the kind of, not the actual inner side, but it's going to be basically top towards inner side. Okay. So I'm going to have 1 here in the middle. And then again, this one is going to go right down towards the base here. All right. But see how that creates a really nice filler? And this isn't even fluffed out yet. So this is just still all squished from the packaging from the store. And we will fluff this out, okay? I'm more worried about getting this on right now, so that way we can keep moving forward to show you how awesome this thing is gonna look. And so my motto with creating, if you haven't seen any of our lives before or our recordings, is that I like to say is things tend to look like they're going to be ugly before they look really pretty. So don't get worried or discouraged, you know, that you're looking at like this, like, oh my, it's just a bunch of flat greenery on a grapevine. We're going to make it look pretty. You just have to have a little bit of faith and a little bit of patience. That's all. So these here, I like to make sure I'm bending them towards the meaty part of our base, not towards the inside where somebody can probably stick their hand in and grab that wire and poke themselves. I think wire pokes are sometimes harder to tell if they're not more painful than a paper cut. So let's keep that safety sake consideration. All right, so this one last piece of wire is really, really short, but I was trying to just, let's see if we can't save it. But I may need to cut another one. No, I need to cut another one. Let's just cut a longer piece. So I started off with what I said, 22. So maybe we might want to cut like 26 inches. 26, 30, whatever you feel more comfortable with. If you want a longer piece to be able to navigate through as your hook into your grapevine. And again, I'm not going through the very back of these because I don't want to see on the back is any wire. That's not my goal. My goal is to make sure I don't see any wire hanging out the back. I know some people don't tell you that. They basically just say, oh, I stuck the pick right in there. Well, we're going to stick the pick in there, but you're not going to see any wires. You're not going to see anything from the back. And you don't have to cut anything from the back when you're done. Because you want to make sure this is already a pretty scratchy piece. It being natural wood in and of itself. So we don't want to add anything else that's going to scratch somebody. All right. So let's just go ahead and add a tiny bit of hot glue. All right. So our base is on, okay? So now we can go in and again, what's cool about this is that this is all itself wired. So you can move these pieces however you choose. And see, even here, I can bend the stuff in more if I feel like it's protruding. See how there's some pieces of the grapevine that just decide to come out? And you can go ahead and just snip those off if they're not behaving. I tried to clean this stuff up beforehand, but sometimes there's some pieces once you start working with the grapevine, they just want to go in a different direction than what you're asking them to. So we'll leave that out. So again, just fluff out all your stems, and you will continue to fluff these out as you work with your picks. So don't think this is going to be the last time you fluff it all out. But what's really cool about this, again, is this was just a really inexpensive way to add filler, okay? And again, everything is wired, so you make it go where you want. You just need a little bit of elbow grease. Push those wires where you want them to go. Okay. And the shake test, almost like you do for a sign, is you're going to shake this. You can turn it upside down, and it's not going anywhere. So you know everything you've attached right now is not going anywhere. So let's start working with our big picks that we have. My little bit of my pet peeve is getting the price tag off these guys. So again, we're live, guys. We are not a pre-recorded tutorial. So if you have questions while we're on here tonight, please go ahead and post them. Share this with your friends. Let them know we're on. If they have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer questions while we're live too. I know you have the opportunity to ask questions on pre-recorded videos, but sometimes it's just easier when we're live to get the message across. All right, so I have 3 of these, but let's just take maybe 2 of them out for now. I always like to buy 3 of everything because generally 3 gives you a better aesthetic look, an appealing look for your eyes when you're creating, if you have 3 of things. But we have a very large juicy bow, and I want to make sure that that is for sure going to make it on here in the right spot. Okay, see, now this was part of our pick, and that wasn't part of our plan for that to fall off. So this is a great example. Don't fret when you have something like this that basically your leaf came off. You're going to just want to dab a little bit of glue. I like to put it on the little hole of the leaf, and then you can just poke that right back in there, and you're going to want to let it dry a little bit before you start pulling on it again. Okay? So it's not broken, can always fix it. Now, we have our other pick here. And so this one's going to go in this general vicinity here. And then let's see where our bow is going to go. See, I'm just moving my greenery. Remove our glue gun before we get burnt. So I'm going to move our greenery here to the sides so we can try and get a nice spot where this is going to fall. Trying to see if I want it down more towards the bottom so that all these beautiful tails can hang really well, which we haven't cut, and I'm going to show you where to find that sweet spot to hang your bow, and then possibly figure out where your tails go. I think I'm going to add in that 3rd pick. Ooh, we got ribbon rolling around over here. So I'm going to add in that 3rd pick. This one was a little bit easier to cut than I thought. And this one I'm going to face going the other way. So the other ones, I basically had turned them, one going this way for the top, turned my pick around so that the bottom with the berries was going downwards. And then I think for this one I'm actually going to do the same thing, where for the bottom I turn the berries going down, but we're going to see because I may need it to go the other direction. So let's see if this goes here. I'm going to pull this down towards you guys, because you don't need everything going in the same direction all the time. Sometimes it's good to vary things up here. Alright, so I do think I'm going to face it downwards instead of upwards, and have so that the berries come on the bottom. So the berries here are towards the top, berries here are towards the bottom, and then we have our bow towards basically the lower quarter of the grapevine, and then another poinsettia pick with the berries facing down, which will fix where everything is going. But what I think, let me see what I may have to do. I'm not sure if I want to work these in after, or if I want to work them in now. I think I'll work these in after. So these berry picks that are gold, we'll work these in after. I think what I want to do is get my poinsettia picks on first. So we're going to move our bow, because I think that's where I want my bow, is down here. Now I don't technically need this humongous base here, this large pick piece, but it may be best that we leave it on, because I can probably just squeeze it right through. So see how this is very hard to see because obviously it's the same color, but this here is our pick base, and I'm just literally going to sneak it right in there. Okay, I am not pushing it through like this straight up and down. I am literally going through in the same direction as the base. All right, so I'm going to put a ton of glue on here. I say a ton, but a reasonable amount. You can use glue from a glue pot if you have a glue pot. I have an electric glue gun, and I haven't been using it because it gets so darn hot that I've had like a 3rd-degree burn with it before. So I'm a little scared to use it again. We'll get over our fear in a little bit, but so for now, this is what we're going to use. Okay. And I may come back in here with some frosted greenery just to add a little bit. So now, so this is a pretty heavy pick, okay? And what's really good about having this kind of a base is that these serve as actual like pipe cleaner ties almost. So I'm actually going to grab 2 parts of my base, my garland base, and I'm going to twist them together, wrapped around the bottom of that pick. I should say it's basically just tying that. So tying it using these here, and I've just created an extra way to keep this secure. I obviously have glue on the stem, but this is so heavy that I don't want this to just decide to pop off as someone kind of just handles it. So I think that is our best bet. And then this one, I'm going to bend this towards the form of the base. So that way when we stick it in here, it's going in the right direction of where we want to intertwine it in the grapevine. So again, just a bunch of glue on the base. Okay. Gotta get some more glue sticks out. I would have a ton of glue sticks when you're doing grapevine wreaths ready, because you very likely need them. Very likely. Okay? And it's okay to manhandle the base a little bit and shove that pick right on in there, which here is the base of this pick, and I put it right under this really thick stem. Okay? So, oh, I'm so glad everyone found me finally. Thank you for hopping on. I'm so sorry I decided to just change my mind on where I was going to be tonight. Like I said, had a little bit of issues in the past week or so. Actually, I forgot I also have these. So we're going to see if we want these. I found these at the store the other day, and I half-heartedly liked them, half-heartedly didn't. So I said, well, you know, in case I need some more filler, these may be our best bet. Not that we have to use everything, but it made us add a really good hint of bold gold. Okay, so I forgot to mention I have those, but I literally just got those just the other day. So there's one more that we're going to stick in here, which is this large piece here. And we're going to stick another glue stick in my little mini glue gun. I have been just debating to go ahead and possibly buy a glue pot, but it's just basically like a skillet, an electric skillet, and you're frying your glue. You're cooking up your glue for a good cause. How's that? All right. All right, so this one, don't be afraid to go ahead and, like I said, manhandle your pieces here a little bit. All right, so I think our first one we stuck in here is going to be sufficient to go ahead and grab one of these from the left and one of these from the right from our garland base, and I'm going to pull really tight to just go ahead and make sure I'm creating like another extra secure measure where that's not going to pop off somewhere. And so now on this one, I'm going to do the same thing and move some of these garland pieces. And I'm going to come in here, one from the left, one from the right. Sorry, I just pulled myself up too far for you guys. Okay. And you can't even tell that you have that intertwined as far as like a tie on your piece, because it's just all connected. So I'm going to move down here towards the bow. So I just kind of push that up a little bit for you guys to be able to see. So this again is where our bow is going to go, and we're going to stick this guy on now because we need to see how much extra room we have that is empty, possibly to need more filler, but I don't think we're going to have a lot. It's just going to be really trying to break up all this white. Like see this here, like this up top. I'm going to probably push this up a little bit more and out. And this one I'm probably going to push inwards because I don't want them sitting right on top of one another. Flowers don't grow perfectly straight. We all know that. Okay. Okay. All right. So now this one's facing a little bit outwards. This one's facing a little bit inwards. It got more of a little bit of a natural look. When we made this bow on Facebook last Monday, I will again try to upload that tutorial. Even if I don't edit it, I'll just go ahead and upload it so you guys can see. It was pretty, I don't think we had too much outside chatter. So I'm trying to see if we had any questions. Michelle loves her glue pot. Oh. Okay, so we're gonna flip this around. We already have some of our 22 gauge wire already on here, and again, you can go ahead and watch that tutorial. As soon as I upload it, I will let you guys know. But either way, actually, you guys will know if you go ahead and hit that little notifications button. If you hit that little notifications bell and you subscribe to the channel, then YouTube will actually tell you automatically, and you won't have to wait for me. So we're going to use the same method to attach. You want to create a little hook on the end of your wire. So create like this little hook, and on this end, just create a little hook. I just like to bend it right around my thumb. And so that way when I'm trying to fish basically this wire right through my grapevine, I can quickly find it. It's not something I'm going to be looking for hours and getting frustrated and possibly cussing at my grapevine. It's just not necessary. This is supposed to be nice and relaxing and rewarding, not something we want to make anybody drink over. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to twist this around so maybe you can see the bow attaching part a little bit better if I swing this around. So it's kind of hard to see because we have green wire, but basically I've got one side going in one way, the other side going up the other way, and what I want to do is just pull my wire really tight. And when I say really tight, I mean I don't want to break it and break my grapevine, so not that tight. We don't want like Superman tight. Actually, we're going to talk in like super women heroes, so we don't want Supergirl tight, okay? We want like, I don't know, Kathy from Santa Marta Designs tight, because she doesn't have a lot of screws in her hands. We'll just talk about myself instead of comparing people. How's that? Alright. So I've got this in, I think, a pretty good spot. And in order to move it, I'm grabbing some of my loops to just kind of push it up a little bit, because I don't want to squish everything. At least I'm trying not to. And then I know this bottom part you're not going to be able to see because I basically can't even see it, but all I'm doing is just like when you're twisting two pieces of pipe cleaners together to tighten something, that's what I'm doing with my wire. So I will show you that in 2 seconds with a pipe cleaner, just so you can know what I mean. And then my wire, all I'm going to do is continue to wrap it around this base of my bow. So that way, I know it's probably definitely not going to go anywhere. You like that, right? Probably, definitely. Okay. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of the extra wire off. So I always, when I make my bows for attachment, and if I use wire, I usually really like to try and put the wire piece really extra long, because I never know if it's going to be long enough, and I hate for it to be too short. So again, all I did with the glue was add it to the end of the wire to stick right down into, and all I did was just use my needle nose pliers to push that right in there, because I don't suggest you use your fingers to touch hot glue to secure anything until it's cooled off. That will give you some serious burns. We don't advise that. It's not very helpful. You won't be cooking your turkey or making any fun desserts because you'll be wrapped up in Band-Aids. So let's not do that. Okay, so this was a super fun bow to make. So don't forget to check that out when it's uploaded. Alright, and it seems like this little guy is getting a little bit lost in translation over here. So we're going to have to move him. But the cool part about these picks is that everything is on wire, guys. You can bend it wherever you want. Okay, so let's swing this back around so that you are on the right end. So this is why I say you need a dustpan and broom. Oh, we lost a little berry. Trick of the trade. So again, we'll find its little hole that it was married on, and maybe it belongs somewhere over here. We'll just stick that guy right back on. Okay? So let's do that. Let's get this out of the way so that you can actually see what you're working with. All right, so this is the bottom, and we want this to kind of hang down. So we're just gonna bend these. You want to be careful with anything that you see that has a berry pick that is not plastic. It's very, very likely styrofoam that has just been painted, and it's daintily painted because if you just tap it the wrong way or hit it the wrong way, those little suckers will chip in a heartbeat and you will see the white styrofoam. Thankfully these are actually like more of like a cream white, so not too bad, but I just wanted to warn you, if you do get any of that kind of supply type material, then just to be careful. Okay, you just want to make sure. So I'm just trying to get to the base of this pick so I can bend the whole stem down a little bit better. There we go. I'm getting some of those glue webs out of here. All right, so now let's put in some of these golden berry picks. But what I wanted to see, oh, thank you for loving the bow, everyone. These are my most absolute worst, like, enemies to get off, is these price tags. I think that's what I'm gonna have to do to prepare for my lives more often, is get these price tags off first. It probably takes me longer to get these off than make the bow. Oh goodness. So I always like to save my little tags because sometimes I think I'm going to use a certain amount of supplies, but sometimes I don't. So, you know, I want to know how much things cost me in the end, because I can always do a ballpark, but we always don't want to overcharge as well either. All right, so these are super tremendously long. Like, I don't need a pick that goes from here to the next state. So we are going to cut these with our heavy duty cutters. I need to get some of those snips like Lori has. Those are going to be on my Christmas list for Santa. Some people want a Gucci bag, some people want Louis Vuitton. I just want some really nice snips that cuts metal really well. Can't make a girl happy with handbags all the time. Sometimes you can, because trust me, I love my bag. But I would love more so as a snip that really cuts well. Alright, so let's bring us down here a little bit because I'm working at the top here. So I'm just trying to see if I want to work these in and where. So I have 4 of them. I'm thinking we're probably going to do one down here towards this section here. And then we're going to probably do is 1, 2, and then 3 here. So we will very likely use up the 4 of them. I know, nothing like getting craft supplies for Christmas because A, it's something I want. I don't want a new vacuum cleaner. I want something that's going to be fun for me to use. Alright, So why am I not putting my glue on right now? Because I'm a little undecided on where I want these to go. So I'm kind of sticking them in randomly where I think they might want to go, or where I may want them to go. Unless my scissors under my bow. And let's cut this little tag off. Maybe this one will cooperate. Here we go. Maybe this one will cooperate now too. All right, so, oh, and so just as a little announcement, I do have quite a number of craft shows coming up that I feel a little understocked on for Christmas supplies. So maybe on randomly, usually I'm on Monday and Thursday nights for lives. Last Thursday didn't work because I just was not feeling well with a headache and it was a pretty bad week. So we decided to cut our losses, rest up, and here we are. So we may be on a little more frequently this week, just as an FYI. Got some centerpieces to make, actually quite a number of centerpieces to make. And here's the thing, if this pick is too tall, you can always cut this in half sometimes. If you can find a really good sweet spot, like here in this pick, I could probably cut this where I'm bending it right now. See that? And make two right where that is. I could probably just make two stems out of there, but I think we can make this work. I'm going to have to separate this out pretty significantly, like one going that way and one going this way. So let's do that and let's start gluing, because I may want to just take a look to see what those leaves are going to look like. Those gold leaves, I'm not sure if we want them. I did want to do a really good white and gold one. I've just seen a ton of Christmas decorations this year with white and gold. Caught my eye. And again, these, you can almost hook these with your garland that we put on as our base filler. Okay, so we used a 9-foot garland. If you came in late, we used a 9-foot garland as our base, and we probably used about 3/4 of it to fill, essentially, and it was so relatively inexpensive. I think I got that, like I say, at one of the craft stores this year, because they had leftover Christmas supplies, and it was under $2. So that was definitely, I think, a really good score. Okay, so our berries don't like to grow all in the same direction either. So I'm going to stick some up, some down, some facing out, and we're going to cut, I think we're going to cut this one. Actually, this one's already cut. We're going to just squeeze this in here. I think what I want to try and find is a good spot to anchor this in our grapevine and not sticking up too high. So sometimes you just got to play with it, because what you think is going to work may not always happen. So again, just adding some glue to the end of that stem. Okay. All right. And so I can always just bend these in different directions so that it's not going to get swamped underneath my bow, but it blends nicely with these other white berry picks. And again, we'll just constantly be fluffing our bow until we're done. So we tried to go for white and gold, and I know some of these are definitely more on the cream end of the spectrum. But I figured for this project, the white and the cream were gonna have to be friends, okay? So we have not cut our tails yet. We have one more of these berry picks to go ahead and add to the bottom here. So we're gonna sneak this one in here. I think next time we'll probably do our overhead camera so that you can probably see better without having to move a ton. All right, so I think that's going to get lost in translation over there. So what I want to do instead is come on this way and see if I can't find a good spot to anchor this down and kind of give it some life in that direction. Okay. Sometimes it's harder to get them back out to glue than to stick them in. How's that for an answer? Okay, so just generous amount of glue. Sometimes people ask what kind of glue I use, which I just use the Gorilla Glue sticks. Get them at Walmart. I have like this little mini glue gun that I like to use. I do have one of the electric ones, but those get hot as the dickens, like I've said before, and I'm not so happy with the glue burns that I've had. They drip very, very easily when you're not using them. So this one I'm just going to go ahead and wrap around there. And it's like it's just growing right through there. Okay. So now I thought about hanging these angel wings, but I don't think it's going to work because they're just going to get lost somewhere, essentially, is what's going to happen. I don't think there's a really good spot. If we didn't have any pine cones right here, I might be able to stick that there, but they're just going to sit right on top of the pine cones, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to scrap our little angel wings, and we're going to bring out these little gold leaves just to see if maybe I need to add in like one or two, maybe here or there. I don't think I want to add the whole stem, but maybe just pick off like one or two leaves here, but we're going to take a step back and just take a look. I think I might actually be able to pop one of these off and take a look. So let's see if we were to add some gold, because this is a really big, bold statement to add one of these gold leaves. But I think it ties in our gold nicely. Don't worry, guys. If we don't use it, this comes back together. I already showed you that these can totally get put back together. It does add a little bit more of a dramatic look, which I do like. So I think we're going to use these. We're going for it, guys. We're going for it. Are there any questions that I've missed? I'm going to try and catch the questions at the end, but just in case somebody had questions. So we're going to wiggle that in there. Try and make sure that, because this gold leaf does not have a very big end. If you wanted it to, we could show you how to do that. So if you wanted something to have an end, like we just cut off this pick, stem. And this definitely fits in here. If you really needed it to have a stem, you could go ahead and add that in. Very inexpensive. You spent nothing extra to go ahead and add that, other than using a pick machine, which is quite costly. So you can actually create more than one stem out of this for your leaves. I'm going to show you. So we're going to add just a little dollop of glue on the leaf end and stick that right in that hole there. Okay, that's going to dry for a second. We'll pop off another one from the same branch here. Okay, come here. We're going to add a little drop of glue and we're going to stick that pick stem right in there. Okay, so you just created a little stem if you didn't feel like it was secure enough without a stem. So let's go to the one we did first, because this one's no longer an issue to go ahead. If you don't feel like it's got enough glue, you can go ahead and add more glue. Okay, but it really should be fine. All right. I think I want this one to go right in through here, really. Okay. So it's got like a sideways look. And then I'm going to come in down through here as well with one of these. So I'm going to glue this end and just push that right on through the base of the grapevine. And again, this adds a little bit more of a bold statement that this is definitely gold and white, or cream, if we want to call it. But I'm going to add some gold leaves here too. So let's pop some of these off. We're going to use like probably 3 down there. And we're probably going to put possibly another one up here as well. Alright. So again, we can take our pick end. I don't need them as long as I made them before. Just need a little bit. Actually, that's good enough. And we'll use this one. So we have extra. Okay. So, a little bit of surgery we're doing. Nothing wrong with it. Saving some money. Whoops, wrong end of our stem. I swear sometimes I think I'm going blind. I may need to start wearing some glasses. Possibly. All right. Okay. And we'll do one more. All right. All right, so I've just kind of set them to dry over there so that they're not going to get glued to the table. Let's just finish up the top here first. So let's see if I want one going up. I think I want one going upwards. So I'm just going to glue the bottom again. This is very repetitive, so once you get the hang of doing it once, you should be fine repeating it several times. Okay, and just always try and get your glue webs out of the way. So do we like the gold leaves? I'm liking the gold leaves. I don't know about anybody else. I think they add just a really good pop of bold gold. Say like, haha. Like, look at me. This guy, I haven't decided where this guy really needs to go. Possibly that way. I'm going to stick one going this way. All right. And we are almost done, other than we're going to basically cut our tails on our bow here. I thought I had one more. Oh, here it is. We're going to cut our tails a little bit shorter on some of them and dovetail them, and we are donezo. I really do want one down here. Okay. Just getting the extra glue off my fingers. And we shall take a look. All right. I think that's pretty good. So let's start cutting some of these tails. I like to leave my 1.5s longer than my 2.5s. Just my preference. You can leave them as long as you want. And I'm going to have my white stand out a little bit because I want to make sure we don't lose sight of our white. All right, so to cut our tails, which you cannot see the end of, to cut our tails, first you want to probably fluff everything out. If you've been working with your bow and it's gotten smashed, just run your either these two fingers, or you can run these two fingers, whatever two fingers you want to use. Basically like you're curling ribbon for presents. That's what you want to do to your ribbon here for your bow. Okay, so make everything nice and fluffy. I'm going to fluff out your loops as well. Okay. Okay. And for our bow, I believe we used, yes, we used 3 2.5-inch ribbons and 4 1.5-inch ribbons. So I'm going to fold that in half, cut away from me at an angle, and voila. It's like a little V type shape, if you can see that. All right. No one's going to look to see if your V is perfect. If they do, shame on them. Should not be overly criticizing. These things take time. All right, this guy I'm going to cut much shorter because it snags on a lot of stuff and makes a lot of the other ribbon just kind of stuck from curling. This guy, I love this pretty ribbon. Oh, so sparkly. I'm going to leave this one really long because I want to curl this one in a special way. So those are going to get left kind of long. And it doesn't matter to me, at least, you may care if I have one end longer than the other. Because like I said, no one should be coming up to your tails and putting them side by side and saying, oh my, it's not even. She didn't measure right. It's not going to happen. Unlikely. I shouldn't say not going to happen, but it's very unlikely. Okay. Alright, so some of these I'm just going to curl up just as like a little roll. Like a little tiny curl. Okay. Some of them I'm going to leave straight. And one, like this guy, I'm going to do like this banana curl. Like you're curling your hair with a curling iron. Okay. And he should stay because it's got wired. It's got wired. It's wired. Oh, it's late. It's late. Okay. This one I said I wanted to cut a lot shorter. Alright, right about there. Get some of these tails out of the way so we know what we've cut. Right? And there we go. There we go. And on these white ones, so this white one is not going in the right direction because one should be on this side and one should be on the other. So let's be happy campers. Okay. Alright, just forcing my ribbons to go where they should go. Okay. Oh, did we cut this guy? Yes, we did. Alright. Want this guy to stay fluffed up. This guy I want is my banana curl, my big banana curl, because this ribbon is it's too fine, too pretty, too everything to be hiding, to be honest with you. We want that like front and center, attention stuffer, attention getter, whatever you want to call it. Okay. This guy is still a little too long. At least for my liking. Alright, so now let me get this out of the way so it's not confusing what we're looking at. And whether it's still on the ribbon or off the ribbon and hanging. Okay. I think I got all our pieces. And I think we are done. So how do you guys like that? Let me see if I have any questions. Thank you everyone. Oh, thank you everyone for blessing my page and sharing. Thank you so much. I'm going to scroll through and see if I missed any questions. Thank you everyone for hopping on. Hey everyone. Thank you to my cubby group for hopping on. Each and every one of you are amazing. Awesome. So, any questions? This is our white and gold / cream. Christmas special. And hopefully we'll make it to our craft show this Saturday. Actually, we will have presents on Saturday and Sunday. We will be at the Voc Tech, which is the Vocational Technical High School Craft Fair from Saturday and Sunday in New Bedford, Massachusetts. All right, everyone, if no one has any questions, I am going to hop off. Thank you, everyone, for hopping on last minute to YouTube. We will be here more often from now on, considering things haven't been going so well on our other social media platforms for posting our lives. But if you ever need to replay, things are really easy to replay on YouTube if you ever need to watch something a little bit more slowly. So if you haven't already done so, I'd love for you guys to subscribe to our channel. Go ahead and hit that little notifications icon, because that lets you know when we're either live or got new material out for you. And I hope you have a fantastic week. If not, I will hopefully see you on Thursday and we can chat about it then. All right, guys, have a wonderful night.